and I'll be like, oh my God, I need to be more mysterious.
Oh.
I need to
the part
be
that was attractive to me, though.
Right.
That candid, exposed,
right.
everything laid out
Yeah.
thing. But also, I feel you on the mystery
I'm like, oh my
front.
God, the mystery's gone.
The way I dive into the episode, the fucking awareness I just had, it was so funny. Oh shit, it's hard to start, y'all. It's hard to start a podcast. I'm gonna be real. Today is one of those days where it's hard to start the podcast. I'm Dana. This is Words That Move Me. Thank you so much for being here. I'm thrilled about this episode because today I get to get to know someone better, someone I admire and have had my eye on for a very long time. Miss Marlee Hightower. She is a gift to dance and an example of what is possible for women, specifically in hip hop. And I simply adore this person. I'm so excited to share this conversation. But first, we do wins. We celebrate wins on this podcast, big, small, and everything in between. Today, I'm celebrating a fairly large win. And I can't believe I haven't shouted this out on the podcast earlier. The Seaweed sisters, which consists of myself and my two best friends, Jillian Myers and Megan Lawson. My dog just got jealous when she wasn't listed among my best friends. Come on up. Come on. There she is. Riz is an honorary Seaweed sister. We are celebrating 3 sold-out nights of shows at Congress, downtown LA. I love Jillian Myers and Megan Lawson. Zach and Dina, thank you for hosting such an incredible night of dance. Man, being a part of a night like that feels incredible. And being a part of something as special as the Seaweed sisters, I just pinch myself every day. So that is what I'm celebrating. We will link to Seaweed sister episode as well. Duh. Past guests. Oh, so good. That's me. And this is Riz. And that's what's going well in my world. Now you go. Celebrate your wins. Say it out loud. It really is important to me that you say it out loud so that the people in the back can hear. Congratulations! We're so glad that you're winning. This is the best news ever. Yay. I do voices when I have a dog on the podcast. Sorry about that. I really am glad that you're winning, though. And I know that you are. It might not be the big win that you have planned out there in the future, but every little thing gets you closer to it. So congratulations and keep on winning. Now let's do this, shall we? Marlee Hightower, such an exceptional woman, a phenomenal talent, a very eloquent speaker, and an inspiring person, period, the end. I'm so excited to introduce you to, and I hope that you enjoy the one and only Marlee Hightower. Oh, that's gonna make sense in a second. Marlee, what am I doing? Field goal.
Oh my gosh.
Field goal.
Yep.
We really did it. You're in town for like 2 days?
Yeah, 2 days.
Thank you for carving time out for the podcast. Welcome. I'm so glad to have you.
I'm so happy to be here.
Oh man, this is exciting. Okay, tradition on the podcast, we always start with the guests introducing themselves. Mm-hmm. Take it away.
Okay.
What do you want us to know about you?
Well, my name is Marlee Hightower. I'm 24 years old, freshly 24.
Nice.
Yeah,
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm a dancer, choreographer, based in Orlando, Florida. Mm-hmm. I own a dance studio called Motiv Dance.
Love.
Yes, we're an all hip-hop based studio. I've been teaching there. We've been open for about 8 years now.
Holy smokes.
Yeah, it's been a while.
You are 24 and you've owned a studio for 8 years.
Yes, it was my dad's idea to start the space, and so then we just kind of ran into it. So I've come into myself like as a woman and as like an owner, because initially it was just like I was along for the ride. Uh-huh. So as I've gotten older, I've
found your footing.
Yeah, my voice within it. But yeah, I've been dancing professionally since I was about 7 years old. Awesome. And I just haven't stopped.
I love not stopping. We'll start with not stopping. Let's start with not stopping.
That's actually really good.
It's a good place to start. Very good place to start. I was never the best at the beginning. I don't think I'm the best now. I'm very good at being me. I'm probably the best Dana Wilson you've met. Sorry, others.
Oh man, sorry to the Danas.
Well, I'm the best me that I have been yet because thanks to the podcast and, loving dance and loving learning to dance, I have this thing with progress and I just love self-improvement. And in the podcast, I get this front row seat of learning.
Yeah.
And when you do something like start a project that is a dance studio, you also have a front row seat to learning.
Yeah.
Because I say this all the time, but every time you teach something is an opportunity for you to learn it deeper yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So I think a lot of the greatest teachers that I know are also like front row learners. They're lifelong learners. Oh my gosh. Get it, Riz.
Yeah.
She's getting at the tail. Wow, that was quite the side bend.
Yeah. She's flexible.
Okay, so back to longevity and the idea of not quitting.
Yes.
What are the thoughts? What are the things? Because surely in 8 years of running a studio, you've run into moments where you may be less motivated to keep going, less inspired. So when you find yourself up against a wall or a hurdle or, the uphill moment, what is it that keeps you going?
Yeah, that's a great question. Like, and I think my mindset when it comes to this, to just keeping at it, applies to like everything in dance or just like life in general.
Also?
Yeah.
Dance lessons are life lessons.
Totally. But I think that I'm very similar to what you said in the sense of there's something about just improving and getting better that I really enjoy. Yeah. So when it comes to pursuing Motiv, the studio, and just working on making it better, that's fulfilling. So even in the moments of just like, oh my God, like this is hard. Like, should I be doing this? Should I not? Where do I take it? But then it's like the idea of sitting down with myself and seeing how can this be better?
Right.
That's nice.
Right.
And then when people talk about like even burnout or things like that, like it's not necessarily that I'm not tired. I'm tired all the time. But I think my want to be better is so much greater.
Right. And this thought that you shouldn't be tired is the only reason why being tired sucks.
Oh, yeah.
Like if you think that, I'm doing something really important and really hard, tired is part of it.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, and so what?
Yeah.
Versus like, I should be able to keep, I should be one, it's that like argument with yourself that makes it's like adding insult to injury.
Yeah.
It will be hard. But if you think it should be easy, then it's going to be extra hard.
Yeah. Speaking of hard, like I go by this all the time, but choosing your hard.
Okay, what's the hard that you choose?
It's I guess like everything you do in life is going to be hard. So it's just a matter of what kind of hard you want to experience,
Okay.
So for me, like I think that whenever I'm experiencing moments that are, not my favorite, they're uncomfortable, responsibilities that are not my favorite, I have to sit with myself and recognize like I like this life.
I actually chose this.
I chose this and I
hard.
would choose this over, something that is unfulfilling,
please.
and that's hard too.
Yes,
so choosing my hard is also what keeps me going.
Nice. Okay, love that. Okay, so that's what keeps you going. What was it that started you? Like how did you meet dance? How did that all play out?
I met dance when I was 3. So my mom,
same.
Yeah.
Were you like, you got...
I was a baby. Yeah, I was
and
a
your
baby.
mom was like, this is a good extracurricular.
Yes, for sure.
Maybe not thinking like, this will be the career forever.
Totally,
but,
yeah. Like my parents, they're both artists, and they were very much adamant about like whatever they saw that I maybe had like a knack for early on, they were like, let's...
Lean in.
Yeah.
Go.
Boom.
Do it.
And so I think that was the first thing. They would see me dancing around a lot as like a really little baby. So they were like, yeah, let's try this.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And they've been just really, really supportive throughout my entire journey. And there's even different art forms that I've been interested and wanted to pursue. And they've been behind me in that as well. But I think dance just has always like taken precedent.
Cool.
Yeah.
And I know that you've had a special relationship with a teacher early on, like you had a mentor or a teacher person, a figure in your life that made you feel like, oh, I have a path, I can do this. Has that informed the way that you lead? Did that at all play into your decision to start?
It's funny, like, so when I was about 7 years old, that's when I joined my first hip hop team in Orlando. Her name was Julie Johnson. And so she was who like taught me all the fundamentals. Like she introduced me to hip hop and all that it is.
Thanks, Julie Johnson.
Thanks, Julie Johnson. Yeah. And I think that, it wasn't exactly her mentorship that made me want to step into that role. But I will say it has, in doing this type of thing, in leading young people, it's actually brought me back to that time period. Ooh. And so it's given me like a lot of empathy for her and her experience. Yeah. And also recognizing how much of an impact she had on my world also shows me, I am in that same position. So the young people that I'm teaching and giving that to, like, they're having my thing. They're doing my, So that's an interesting experience.
Being around long enough for tables to turn and to be on the other side of these big moments is like, it's such a wild thing.
So wild.
It's happening to me a lot right now.
Is it?
Because I'm a few years ahead of you.
Yes.
Decade plus. And I talked about it on Instagram recently, but I had a really profound moment in class. I've been kind of back in class. Like I really love class. I've always loved class, but I have time right now and I am protecting time. I've always had time, but I've never protected it quite like I am right now. I love being in class. Maybe it's just like post-pandemic being around people and there's a particular community of people, teaching and training right now that I really have an appetite for.
Nice.
So I found myself in class getting schooled. Like I found myself, first of all, I always feel old because my knees hurt, but I was looking around at some very young faces wondering like, I must be twice the age of some of these. Like never have I felt like twice as old. Like I always felt older in dance class. But I was like, wow, okay. So that's what's happening. And it reminded me of when I was, 18 and freshly moved to LA and would take class. And some of the OGs are like people who were always stayed on tour or always were in music videos. And when those people came to take class, I would get like inspired, wildly inspired and nervous about that.
Right.
And I think now I'm that person who is back. And what's crazy is that I also still felt inspired and nervous. I was like, oh my God, they're really good. These young people, they're coming up and I'm feeling, okay. So like we're doing it for each other.
Right.
At all times, just from different dots on the map.
Yeah.
And I think this is why I love dance. Because human beings and our relationships to each other and the way that we fill cups and pour into each other. It's that exchange that really is the most interesting part of it to me.
How cool is that? It's like you getting to a certain place also in your career and in your life separate from your career. Like it also shows you're not exempt from those uncomfortable feelings.
No exemptions.
Yeah.
At any point in your wildly successful career, you can feel illegitimate and threatened and insecure and like an imposter.
Right.
Like no amount of accomplishments or credits make you impenetrable to those feelings. As a human being, you can and will feel all of them at any point.
Yeah.
Thank you for bringing that up.
No, totally.
I'm a big fan of feeling feelings.
I love feeling feelings.
I love feeling feelings. Okay, what's your favorite feeling to feel?
Whoa.
I know.
Whoa.
I know that wasn't even on my list of things to ask you, but now I feel like I must know.
Yeah. That's a really good question. The first initial thing that came to my head, and this might sound a little strange,
Do it.
I think that melancholy is really, really beautiful.
Wow. Have you seen the movie Melancholia?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
That's actually on my list.
Okay.
Yeah.
Get ready to never look at the moon the same way again, ever.
Okay.
It is, I don't know. That's for people who love that movie, you might be shocked that that's what I said about it. It's a wild ride.
Okay.
And it does feel melancholic, actually, to watch it. It's kind of long. It's kind of drawn out. Rick, what is going on back there? She's just exploring the house as if she's never been here. It is gorgeous. It is tragic.
Yeah.
It is heavy. It is kind of isolating. I watched it with someone, and I felt like I watched it alone. It has a way of like really calling you out, and I hope that you love it. And also it's gorgeous. Did I mention that? It's gorgeous.
Yeah.
Let me know what you think of it.
Okay, I will.
That's a surprising answer.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just, they're like I just always am drawn to like things that have that tone, whether it be movies or music or art.
Okay, but would you say that your movement also reflects that tone? Because I would not say that.
I would not say that.
I wouldn't say that.
I wouldn't say that at all. and that's funny that you say that because I feel like I did used to dance from a more melancholic place, maybe when I was a little bit younger.
Excuse me.
But now when I dance, it is very joyous and like celebratory.
Yeah.
But I will say that I feel like there's something under that that's like that celebration is also due to the fact that this world is so big and scary and all of those big, maybe uncomfortable emotions exist. So the fact that I can move through that is also why I'm smiling so much, you know?
Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it. I talk about this in my class a lot. I call my class Jazz Plus, by the way. I don't know if we picked up on that. By the way, we met for the first time this past summer in Canada, teaching together at Elite Dance Works. Shout out, Dawn. You really bring them together. Just thank you. Love you. And I knew I also, because I love class, whenever I'm teaching at summer intensives, I try to take as much as I can. I knew I had to take your class, and I complimented Dawn on having a hip hop teacher, like a person who teaches hip hop versus a person who teaches choreography to hip hop music or rap. And I was just like so rocked. It had been a really long time since I took like a hip hop class versus a choreo class.
Yeah.
So I was really, really excited.
Yeah.
Where was I going with that? Where was I going?
Celebratory.
Okay, great.
Yep.
Thank you.
Boom.
I call my class Jazz Plus. I have in the past taught what we called hip hop. And the year 2020 brought a hard close to that for me.
Boom.
Because I became blatantly and uncomfortably aware of the fact that a white person from the suburbs of Colorado who doesn't eat, sleep, live, breathe the culture, who is absolutely a guest, a warmly welcomed guest,
Heck yeah.
but not a person who eats, sleeps, lives, breathes it. And so I started passing on any opportunity given to me to teach hip hop and putting other people forward who I do think eat, sleep, breathe, live the culture.
Yeah.
That always felt great. Finding a new way to explain myself and my class usually starts with a conversation about what is jazz. Jazz also is undeniably a Black art form, the music and the dance.
Totally.
Created by Black people, brought to America hundreds and hundreds of years ago.
Yeah.
And then I always have a conversation that's like, what is jazz? We talk about who created jazz, but we also talk about what it is. And we talk about jazz through the lens of, look at you, that's great, you got a toy. We talk about jazz through the lens of the people who created it. Instead of saying jazz is a dance that blah, 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 we say jazz is resilient, jazz is strong, jazz is brave, jazz is hopeful, jazz is rooted, jazz is communal, jazz is human, jazz is persistent. And I think the people who created it are, therefore it is.
Yeah.
And what you are underlying right now is that so is hip hop.
Yeah, totally.
Hip hop is resilient, it is strong, it is brave, it is hard, it is heavy, it is light, it is all of those many, many wonderful things.
Yeah.
But the one that I think is most important is that if it is brave or hopeful or bright, it is what is it? The light? What? I was like, maybe it's the sunflowers.
Yeah,
Are you
what?
just seeing that? Oh, tiny. She's so threatened.
Yeah.
Riz, I'm about to make a really good point. Okay. Ready?
Yes.
Focus. If it is brave or strong or resilient, that implies an adversary. That implies a force against it. Like you don't just bravely play a game of solitaire, you bravely go into battle. You bravely face an enemy or a foe. Like, it suggests that there's a force in the opposite direction.
Totally.
And that, yes, is part of the culture.
Yeah.
Like, springing up through the crack in the asphalt, a little tiny sapling. Like, it's like the thing that we celebrate is the fact that it exists, the fact that it still exists, and that is changing and evolving all the time, thanks to people like you.
Mm-hmm.
I think that is something well worthy of celebrating. But underneath that, there is
it's rebellion.
Rebellion, struggle,
Uh-huh.
adversity, all the
Totally,
things.
totally. And that's how, like, I think that when I recognize that, that spin? Yeah.
I apologize.
No, you're good. But yeah, like, I think when I recognize that, because I think in my teens, I was pulling away from hip hop, especially, like, that's just what I came up in, you know, that's what my parents listened to. That was my life. So I leaned more into, like, alternative punk stuff. But then when I realized, oh, hip hop is so punk, like, it is so punk.
Yes.
And when I embraced that and you know, came back to that, I found, like, a new love for hip hop as well.
Question about this rebellion of yours.
Yeah.
Did it have to do with wanting to be different than your parents, different than your upbringing? Was it, or I'm sure at that time it was like, I want to be me.
Right.
Maybe only now in retrospect would you think, oh, that was me opposed to them, or that was me trying to find me?
You know, I wouldn't necessarily say it was me trying to be different from them, because my parents were also just as interested in, like, a lot of alternative stuff as well.
Nice. I want to meet your folks.
They're super cool.
Whoa.
Yeah, they're super cool people. Like, to be honest with you, I think it came a lot from just, like, me being an angsty teenager and just grappling with all those big emotions for the first time.
Fair.
But even within that, like, my parents were the ones who put me on to all of the things that, like, fed me at that time. So all the weird movies, like, we would sit down and watch, you know. My mom, like, loved The Cure, like The Smiths,
Let's
like,
go.
everything. So they helped me through that time as well. I think it was just because, you know, like, neo soul and R&B and hip hop was my norm for so long. But it really wasn't me leaning away from them, I would say. They helped me through all the phases.
Nice.
Yeah.
My mom and I were close, really, really close during my like those years when most people are rebelling, like 15 through 18.
Yeah.
Really close. She, like, best friend close.
Nice.
And I didn't have my rebellion against my mom until I was like 23 or 25. And anything she would say would annoy me. And every question she asked, I was like, Mom, really?
Just no
And I was like, oh, is this what they were? Because I really thought, I was like, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
I'm not going to have that. Because look how tight we are. I did have that. But it was only because she reminded me with those questions of how little I knew. I was only annoyed with her if I didn't know the answer to the question. And I was just thinking that I should, or that I should have a better way to say it. The parental relationship thing is fascinating to me.
Yeah.
And
Same.
I'm really lucky and glad to hear that you had folks who leaned towards or encouraged you with dance.
Yeah.
I think my mom did, well, for sure she did, financially, and you know, technically dropped me off at the studio and picked me up and all the things, but she had a hard time with me choosing this life. Was really nervous that I wouldn't make it. And I think she's okay now.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know at what moment that turned for her.
Right.
I don't know if it was like first tour or like I have a house now, or like, I don't know what it was.
Okay.
She'll be fine.
You're fine.
Yeah. Okay. So family support,
Yeah.
learning, leaning in and leaning away from, you know,
Yeah.
whatever that
You know what I
structure
will
was.
say though?
Yeah, go.
I like when you're saying, you know, was the act of rebellion from, you know, maybe you leaning away from your parents. When I was thinking about it just now, it was kind of me leaning away from what I knew dance as.
Interesting.
Yeah.
The dance parent.
Yeah. Like for me, like I'd done dance for so long, and specifically like I'd done hip hop, or at least like the version of hip hop that was happening at that time, mainly choreo. And I was actually very much leaning away from that for like a long period of time.
Wow.
I just like wasn't inspired by it, but it was all I knew.
Fair.
So I would dance and then I would come home and want nothing to do with dance.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Also, yes. I mean, well, I think my experience of dance was sprinkled a lot with pop culture. And so the opposite of punk, the opposite of counterculture
Totally.
is where I wanted to go. Really was interested in music videos, TRL, like pop stars. Like that was really it for me.
Yeah.
But there also came a time for me where I was like, ugh.
Yeah, gross.
roll. Gross.
Yeah, not cool.
Is it? Yeah. It's like you just have too much of a thing.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Me and Black Olives had that once.
Oh, yeah.
I was like Black Olive
Till I
kiddo. I
die.
would put them on all my fingers. I love them. And then there was a night where I think I had like probably a whole can of those, and that was the end of those.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I'm coming back around now, and I'm glad you've come back around to hip
Yeah,
hop.
totally.
Okay, if you would say that you are having a leaning in towards or a rebellion away from anything right now in your life, what would it be?
That's a great question. Every question
I'll
you
have to ask you in 10 years so that you can answer for this moment. It's hard to tell when you're in it, but
yeah, I mean, I think what am I leaning away from at the moment? I think as I'm traveling a lot more, I'm doing all the things that I've kind of always dreamed of doing. Now I'm starting to recognize how much I love a sense of routine and how my work actually is not set up for that. So finding that balance, leaning into the work that I'm doing, but also like really prioritizing my need for consistency. Yeah.
Okay, where do you find it? Or have you found any little ways to honor yourself in your schedule, even while you're out there on the road?
Yeah, I think fitness, working out consistently. So even if I'm out of town, finding a way to get something in the mornings. Bringing like food that I like, or bringing my own snacks. Bringing a water bottle. Oh yeah, the emotional support water bottle is super real.
It's so real.
It is.
Yet I leave them behind.
Oh yeah.
Even my most cherished ones.
Oh, yeah.
will be left behind.
Totally.
I'm on my 5th one of the year.
Yeah, I just got a new
Granted,
one.
it's December, but yeah, one of mine is safety orange. It's like fluorescent orange, and left it.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
And then like when I get home, like kind of going straight into what my routine would be, which is like,
Do you have a wind down routine?
do I have a wind down routine? No, not really. I have like my candle set up, my lighting set up, but I should actually develop a more consistent like nighttime routine.
I would like to renovate my nighttime routine because currently, right now, it's end of 2023. I am feeling glass of wine and couch and movie at like 6 p.m. When I tell you that's my summer self,
Yeah.
6 p.m. I'm starting a new project.
yeah.
Like
Right. The day
I would
just
work
started.
until midnight.
Yeah.
5:30, sun is going down, and I'm like,
That's it. It's time.
cozy,
Yeah.
settle in.
Yeah.
It's been very hard for me. Yeah, I would like to rewrite my current nighttime routine to be a little bit more mindful. Right now, I'm definitely turning off. Like I'm powering down at 6.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Oy. Okay, let's jump back a little bit to you being traveling and you being moving around a lot, which is something you've wanted for yourself.
Yeah.
And now you're having for yourself.
Yeah.
Is there something that you have noticed about, we'll keep it dance centric, but
Okay.
I do like dancers and humans are the same thing.
Totally.
Is there anything that you've noticed about people in different places that you feel confident in like reporting? Like the dancers in Toronto are like blah. Or the
Yeah.
dancers in Los Angeles are blah. Like I'm just curious.
Yeah.
We shouldn't make monoliths of all of the people. But you do wind up, when you get to move around a lot, you can feel palpable actual differences
For sure.
in these little hubs. And I'm so curious what you noticed.
Yeah, I think the first time I ever taught in Brazil, I think that was like the most energy I'd experienced.
Oh, I
yeah.
bet.
They're so grateful and they're so kind, and I think that I'd never received like that much love, especially because when I taught in Brazil last year at this like really, really big, it's like their biggest event of the year.
So it's like Lollapalooza.
Totally.
So it's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
it's a concert.
Yeah. And the classes, they had this thing called a super workshop. And so the class had like 200, 300 people, like, and it was insane.
Big gymnasium or something like that.
Yeah. It was nuts. And so I would say like they're probably the most like kind, loving, like giving when it comes to energy. I spent the month traveling like all over Europe, and so I got to experience like some different vibes over there. My favorite place to dance was probably Amsterdam.
Nice.
Yeah, I really love the dancers over there.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
also love Amsterdam.
But I'm still getting a gauge, you know? I think like I know the states and the difference now between, you know, places. I think people in other countries are a lot more grateful.
Yeah.
Because they don't have
accessibility.
access to as much as we do.
Uh-huh.
And that's nice to experience, you know, and also gives me a lot more perspective.
Yeah. I asked Alexander Chung, I just talked to him yesterday. I asked him, what is the mark of a great class and what is the mark of a bad class? Like, have you ever walked out of a room and been like, woof, that was not it?
Yeah.
Or the opposite, like leaving high as a kite. Because I have definitely felt both.
Yeah.
And I'm curious to hear what your definitions are of each.
Yeah, I'm always observing in classes, and I do love taking class. But as time has progressed, like I've become more and more picky about the classes that I do take. And I think a good teacher or even a good class, like I love someone who's able to articulate what's going on. And I think that that's harder than some may think. And also, let's say that's not something that you're interested in. I think that a good teacher also is aware of how to just like pace a class and create an atmosphere. And they're very much so in charge of that atmosphere. I think that what I don't like in a class is a teacher who's completely reliant on the classroom and they're like, come on guys, why aren't you? And I'm like, why aren't you? You know, you're the one who's actually setting this up for us. You have to gauge where we're at, our level, in order to see what you need to provide. So I think that bad classes are the teachers who maybe just don't have enough empathy in these like situations. And I think a good class is just one that I feel fully engaged the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, I love that. And I think that actually, if I will toot your own horn for you, that is something you did really well.
Thanks.
Was like, check the temperature of the room, gauge where are they at, meet where they were. Yeah. And you had this really lovely combination of being accessible while still holding some authority. It didn't feel like, oh, my friend Marley, we can like be off on the side chatting. Like you really held a position of leadership where the room was looking to you. Right. But it was with humility. It wasn't with a kind of let me talk at you thing. It was like, let's talk about this together. Yeah. And those are my favorite classes. Those that feel more like discussion than seminar. Yeah, yeah. Because I really can, especially now in my later years, I can really tune out. Totally. When I feel like I'm being talked at versus talked with. Totally. And it's this engagement thing that takes two. Yeah. So there's a respect for the student when I say, what do you guys think? Or how do you guys feel about this? And one thing I really wish I had more from almost all of my classes is feedback from the room. There are very few classes I've taught where I'm like, guys, stop, too much. Right. I'm always, I don't know, I've become a really vocal class taker. Yeah. And I think there's part of me that assumes everybody is more like me than they are. Right. Especially at Elite Dance Works. Yeah. Because they are so well trained. It like quiet. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, I really want to know what you think. It's sometimes can be hard for me to read that room. Right. But they're also they're getting really good about giving like nonverbal feedback. But yeah, I'm always wanting more discussion.
Yeah, I get that too. It's like, and I one thing I always tell a room, like if I feel like it's on the quieter side, is I'll be like, okay, imagine it's just you and me.
Nice.
Like it's you and
if
me.
you were this quiet,
This
in a
would be
one-on-one,
strange.
that'd be awkward.
This would be really weird, you know? And I say
I
that.
love
I'd be like,
that.
that would be a weird thing, you know? And I think that also allows them to be like, oh yeah, like you're a person talking and I'm a person.
Right.
Oh, you know, I think
Thank
I
you
can
for that.
I
I
can
love that.
definitely like lose myself in a class or rely on other people in the class to do the work for me. And I forget that like I'm in charge of that as well.
100%.
Yeah, yeah.
Responsible class taker.
Totally.
And responsible class leader. Thank you for that. That's huge.
Thank you.
Okay, maybe you can give me some insight on this next topic that I am dying to know.
Okay.
Okay, I want to talk about social media because
Okay.
I think you have a way of engaging really honestly and plainly with like, I'm talking about your stories specifically. You are talking to me.
Yeah.
And I know you're not talking to me. I know you weren't like, Dana's going to love this.
This is for you.
This is for Dana. But I feel like it's really personal. But I also know that you're talking to thousands of people.
Yeah.
Or are you? Like when you pick your phone up and start talking to it, are you talking to one person? Are you talking to yourself? Are you talking to the world? What is going on in there?
Oh, that's really good. That's really good.
I have to know because I was
Yeah.
like, wow, she's very good at this.
Yeah. You know, I think I'm talking to myself a lot of the times, but I'm also like it's me sorting through a lot of things.
Okay, yeah,
you know?
processing, rehearsing.
Yeah, processing. You know, sometimes I may have a thought and I'll be like, okay, I'm going to share this one. And I get insight from people as well, but
Right,
a
right.
lot of it has to do with like my just general concerns.
I see. So you're like, okay, is it just me or
Yeah.
is blah, 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 blah?
Yeah, very much that.
Okay. Nice. So using it as a sounding board
Very much a
versus
sounding
like
board.
a telephone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that also it's because I kind of sometimes have a hard time with that because sometimes I'll be super candid and I'll feel very vulnerable within that. And I'll be like, oh my God, I need to be more mysterious. I need
That's
to
the part
be
that was attractive to me.
You're
Though.
right.
That candid, exposed,
right.
everything laid out
Yeah.
thing. But also I feel you on the mystery
I'm like, oh my
front.
God, the mystery's gone. But then I'll tell myself, and this is how I use social media. Like this is what I think every time if I'm ever in my head about anything is I try to just be what I wish I had or what I would love to see from others, which is more vulnerability.
Nice. That's a great rubric for yourself.
Yeah. So if I'm ever like, oh no, like this needs to be way more just cool and mysterious and you don't get access to me in this way, I would think to myself like, I wouldn't want to experience everyone like that.
I wish I had the opposite of that.
Yeah.
So being what you wish you had
Totally.
is how you show up to your social media.
Totally.
That makes a ton of sense.
Yeah.
And I am also going to borrow that. Thank you.
Boom.
Some golden nuggets from you today, my friend.
Oh, thanks.
Okay. Let's see what's next.
Whoa.
Are you ready to move on to a rapid fire question moment?
Oh my God. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, are you sure?
Yeah, I'm actually super ready.
I call this moment wrist roll with it. You have to go fast. Just roll. I know. Do you love to lock?
You know,
That's not on the rapid fire question list.
Yeah. Right.
Sorry, kind of a long question.
No, I actually love locking. I want to get into it a lot more. I just love the music. Like I just love
Give me
funk.
Give me
Oh my gosh,
Give
the
me funk.
joy, the joy.
the joy. And also, okay, here, we're going to go there. I had Zuce Morales on the podcast recently. She's been teaching locking. She's the only woman that has a consistent locking slot in Los Angeles in a very long time. I can't, certainly right now, but
Yeah.
I've been taking her class a lot. Really love the way she leads a room.
Yeah.
And I love the way that she dances. And she came and took my class once. We were talking about funk. And I asked, what is funk? Like to the room. Like, again, I love discussion. I was like, what is funk? And everybody answers. And Zuce's answer was, it's different for everyone and it's different all the time. Funk might be hot or it might be cold. It might be sexy or it might be funny. It might be heavy or it might be light.
Yeah.
And this brought me back to one of my favorite quotes about funk, which is George Clinton of Parliament, P-Funk, Funkadelic, all the source of funk.
Yeah.
And deep sleep. after all that tearing up the couch. Anyways, George Clinton says that funk is whatever you need it to be in order to survive.
Oh,
Yo, it's the caboose. It's the survival part.
Oh yeah. Because I was already there, and then you got me.
Not whatever you need it to be, period.
Totally.
The stakes are high. The alternate is death.
Yeah.
That, no, we're talking about adversity. Now we're talking about perseverance and struggle. And when locking was created, this is Vietnam War era.
Yeah.
This is the time of the draft. That's like, while people are being drafted, while birthdays are being called on the nightly news.
Yeah.
Don Campbellock is in a club giving himself a high five.
Right.
My soul lights on fire.
No, totally.
I'm obsessed with this dance. It's the greatest thing that I can think of. I really, really love it. And yes, it is, for me especially, the joy. I can't do it without laughing. Not laughing, smiling. But sometimes I also am laughing.
Right.
But the more I think about it and the more comfortable I get with the dance, the more it does include mystery, vulnerability, the idea of sexy. This is Tony Basil's biggest gripe about locking right now, is that nobody's sexy with it. She doesn't like it when it gets too goofy or too hokey or too two-dimensional or too fast or too like undigestible. Like it should be sexy.
Yeah.
So I love that.
Do you like, this is one of my like biggest inspirations right now. Do you know Lady C?
Yeah. Canadian, right?
Canadian.
Okay. Yes. Yes. I had the pleasure of being on a judging panel with her long ago.
Yeah.
Big fan.
Big fan.
Big
Huge fan.
Great.
I think she's super great.
Should 100% be having her on the podcast.
Oh, yeah.
This is what happens when I have a podcast. Every time I do one, I have to do 5 more.
Right.
Because these conversations come up and I'm like, oh my God, yes, I want to talk to them.
Yeah, she's incredible.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Is there, before we get back into wrist roll with it, is there another style that you want to lean into more of? Something that's spoken to you but you haven't gotten your claws into?
Okay, so I love house a lot. I think that I implement house a good amount in my work, but something that I feel like I haven't really touched truly and would love to is breaking.
Nice.
Yeah.
I mean, see that. I want to see that.
Yeah, like I've even been like implementing some like top rock here and there just because I'm super, super inspired at the moment by it all. But it's just such a physical dance style, and I like that too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I always say strength is not my strength.
Oh yeah.
And
I agree with this.
I think I would genuinely hurt myself if I.
Oh, for sure.
Well, I mean, the whole training part prepares you for the work that you're going to be doing. But I think the stuff that I would want to do, I am physically in this version incapable of doing. But I am rooting for you. I want to see that happen for you. Very excited.
For sure. It's a big reason why I started just on this fitness journey this past year. It's just I want to be stronger, you know? So when comes time to just implement these things, I feel more equipped.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same. As my Peloton sits over there. Idle. I definitely, I hear that. I echo that. I've had ebbs and flows of like fitness journey, but I've always been focused on cardio.
Yeah.
The year of my life that I felt the best was the year that I was strength training. Like felt freaking strong.
Yeah.
And I would love to return to that. I want to return to, I've only ever taken really small bites of social dances. I want to be salsa dancing. I want to be tango dancing. I want to be zouk-ing. I want to be Lindy-ing and West Coast swinging. And I want to be dancing with people.
Yeah.
I think growing up a studio kid, my experience of dance was pretty, it was communal because I'm taking class with other people.
Yeah.
But my experience of dance was in my body that was led by my brain.
Yeah.
And I think I'm ready
to
listen to someone else's lead and experience dance a little bit more as a passenger than the person who's driving all the time.
Totally.
So I'm excited about that. I know you didn't ask, but I had to.
No, that's really cool too.
We're back. Are you ready?
Yep.
I want to know about a dance move that you would delete forever. Like a move that you're like, nah, I'm good on that. Never again.
Delete? That's a big ask. Okay, and this is rapid.
So much about people by the way they respond to
Yeah,
that.
and
app.
this is rapid fire.
Yeah.
You know, okay, the first thing that came into my mind, like, I don't know if there's a word for it.
Okay.
So I'm going to try to explain it as best I can
Or you
for
could
just
show
the
us.
audio listeners.
You could
but
show
like
us.
whatever this thing is where you like you grab and you bring it in. Yeah, or you like push. You push and you slide. I don't know.
Boom. That one?
Boom. But done, you know,
I
and I
see
think
it.
you can actually
And
do it
that
in a way
also.
that has intention. Like you can make it look super cool. And that's why I'm like, this is a big ask because you could do any move that's
true.
kind of silly or maybe overused. But if you remix it, it would be great. But I think like approaching it in the very you know what?
Tell me.
Actually, scratch all of that.
Bring it back.
Let's talk about this.
Tell me.
I actually mean this, but maybe I don't.
Cannot wait.
Bringing the hand over to the side of the leg, popping the one leg. Actually, take away the like grabbing and the pushing.
Those are fine. Those are fine.
I'm not
They
even
can
that
stay.
mad
They
at
can
that
stay.
one. But the
Shoom.
bop, yeah, that's out. Yeah.
I cannot tell you how many times my 16-year-old self has done that move.
Oh yeah, that's done. That's
but,
done.
But if I'm to be totally honest, probably not since then. I do love the feeling of releasing my hamstring. Like towards
feels good.
The front. It feels great, but paired with
It's the over.
it's the all of it.
boom.
It's it's all three pieces. Okay,
You know?
thank you for that.
Yeah.
How about favorite move?
Favorite move?
Yeah, what's your favorite move?
I'm just gonna go with the bounce.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I see that.
Yeah.
I see that for you.
Simple. It's my go-to.
Essential.
Actually essential.
Actually essential.
Yeah.
Can't really dance without it.
No.
This is why my answer to that question, well, I have a couple, but a two-step. It's how I start and it's
Can't
how I
beat it.
finish dancing.
You can't beat
It's
it.
how it's what
Is
brings
it?
me in and it's also what takes me out. Good night, everyone.
Oh, right,
Good
right.
night, everyone.
And
We're-
exit.
We're
yeah,
done now.
it's a good enter and exit.
Oh, it's so good. Okay, if you could do a collaboration with anyone, living or dead, who would it be? I know. The freedom in that. The pressure.
Now, are we talking like dancer or just anybody?
Anybody.
Oh, man.
I know.
So I would say, oh, this is really hard. You know, an artist that I would love to work with, and I've never really seen them utilize dancers ever, is James Blake.
Wow.
Yeah. And I think that he makes dance music.
And melancholy music.
And melancholy music. He makes sometimes melancholy dance music.
This is a fantastic pairing, Marley.
Yeah, I would love that.
Okay, I also
That's like my
would love
dream.
that. I'm going to try to see if we can make that happen.
Thanks.
I'll make some phone calls.
Okay, great.
I wrote on the card upside down. That's why I keep having to do this.
Yeah,
Did you
I
notice that?
noticed. I
Okay.
did. But it's like cool. It's like a part of the whole thing.
God, dog it. The logo actually, shout out Bree Reitz, does look good in both directions.
Yeah, it does.
Fun fact, Riley, my dear friend and executive assistant and editor of the podcast, her mom has the sticker on her water bottle upside down.
I love that.
Mhm.
I do love that.
How did you find out? Or did you tell her?
She thought that's the way that it went. She did. I looked at it. I was like, "Oh, you have it upside down." She's like, "Oh, that's not the logo."
Nice.
Nice.
Love that. Okay. I'm going to go a little out of order here. Going to
Cool.
mix it up. What
Yeah.
is, if you really, I'm going to go a little
Okay.
easier. A color not found in your closet.
Hot pink. And I'm not opposed to hot pink.
I was going to say, I'm imagining it on you. It looks fantastic.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I'm trying to implement bright colors.
Okay,
into
James
my...
Blake, hot pink, breaking.
Cool.
Music video you wish you were in.
Whoa.
Whoa is right.
Whoa.
I know.
I don't know if I have a music video, but I have like a short film music.
Okay, yeah.
There's a short film. It's literally like one of my favorites ever. It's a dance music film.
Uh-huh.
It's called Anima on Netflix. Highly recommend it.
Okay.
Yeah, but I don't know if you want to know why I also feel like nothing really clicks in my head, because like I feel like I grew up in the era where music videos weren't as,
Yeah, you missed the wave.
you know?
You missed the wave.
Yeah. Not to say that they haven't always been a thing, but like that wasn't my thing, you
Got
know?
it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not where you were tuning in.
Yeah.
I get that.
Yeah.
Awesome. Do you have a favorite song to freestyle to?
Mm.
A song that is undeniable, like you know that you will dance when the song comes on.
Oof. The first thing that came up to my mind is Really Love by D'Angelo.
Nice.
It's very slow, but it's like one of my favorite
Ooh.
D'Angelo tracks.
The last time I was at Tony Basil's house dancing with her, what did she call my music? Everything I kept playing. She said, enough with this easy listening shit. I was like, easy listening. But I love a slow jam.
Me too.
I love a slow jam.
Same.
Yeah, I get very intimidated, especially out. Like if I were out dancing.
Yeah.
If it was like some really dense, complicated like jam that everybody knows and loves, I would much rather, and I could get down for hours if it's just me and a slow jams playlist.
Same.
Okay, thank you for saying that.
Yeah. And it's got a groove too. Like I love D'Angelo, period. Yeah.
If you could listen to one album and only one album for the rest of time, what would it be? I know. That one sucks. That's the one I didn't ask before I asked the closet one.
I'm going to go with...
I'm sorry. I shouldn't even ask this.
I know.
Every time I ask it of you, I try to think of an answer and I hate this feeling. I hate it.
Do you have an answer?
Purple Rain, probably.
Okay, solid.
Yeah.
Yeah, solid.
Because it does have gripping ballads that will make me weep and also some of the funkiest music ever.
Yeah. I would say maybe, can I say two?
Yeah.
Okay. So I would say Talk Tomahawk by the band Hiatus Coyote.
Okay, I don't even know it. This is great.
Yeah, they're really good. They consider themselves like a future soul band. So they've got like a little bit of neo soul, alternative, electronic. They've got a bit of everything. But
this sounds very, very much appealing to me.
I think you would love them.
Okay.
Yeah. I just saw them at Red Rocks, by the way.
What?
And it was incredible. Yeah. Because I saw you went there.
I did go there. I saw Hosier at Red Rocks.
Yeah, heck yeah.
Riveting.
Oh, I bet.
Is that space not the most incredible thing?
Incredible.
Don't you want to put dance there?
I would love to.
I want to put dance there so
I would
bad.
love to do that.
I was watching the show and I was like, there should be moving bodies up there.
Yeah.
That was big feels.
Oh, all the feels.
Okay.
And then second one, like, and all this came out they came out around the same time, like 2013-ish. And that's when I became a teenager. So I think that also plays a role. But I love Channel Orange. Channel Orange by Frank Ocean is so good.
Yeah, it is a good album. That is a solidly good album. I'm not even a big Frank Ocean fan. Yeah. But you can't deny that that's a
It is
solid
so
album,
good.
top to bottom.
And it's got all the things, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, if you're going to be listening to one thing forever, it's got to be diverse.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, two more. Ready for it?
Yeah.
While you're not dancing, what are you most likely to be doing?
If I'm going to give you an honest answer,
I want that.
I am on my phone.
Dang.
Yeah. I'm on my phone on TikTok or Pinterest. I'm a big Pinterester.
Oh, yes. I also am a Pinterest person.
I am a big Pinterest person.
Okay, final question. You ready?
Yeah.
What are the words that move you?
Oh, man. I knew this was coming.
You did. You knew it was part of it.
I did think about this, and there's always been one quote that from the moment I heard it, it was like a few years back, like it's been my favorite quote. And it is, one day I'll find the right words and they will be simple.
The layers of that?
The layers.
And the irony that is the simplest thing that you could say and that you've found it and shared it with us today.
Oh my gosh. The way that it can be applied to everything. All the things. Like,
all the things.
Like within my creative endeavors and how that idea of simplifying has allowed me to be more creative or has allowed me to create things that are sometimes more like universally understood, by dancers and non-dancers when it comes to understanding my emotions, over intellectualizing my feelings and recognizing like, hey, it's actually not that deep.
Pretty simple, actually.
Yeah, it's pretty simple, So I mean, I could go on and on and on about
That's huge.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that and ending on a very simple but very profound note. I so appreciate it. I appreciate your time and your talent. Thank you for being so funky. Ooh, thank you for being an example of what is possible, especially for women in this space. I really admire the shit out of you. Thank you for your time.
I admire you. Thank you for asking great questions and just being like really cool. Yeah, really cool and like thorough and observant and all the things. And
Thank you.
Yeah, I like see myself in you, and I love when that stuff happens.
That's very flattering and cool.
You're so nice.
Thank you. You're so nice. And it's nice to get to talk and get to share. Like I ask good questions, I think.
You do.
Because I want to know deeper what I think might be there. And I just like, I love finding out. And yesterday I had another good round of interviews where I found out that I was wrong about so much, which is also a great place to approach from. Like, oh, really? I thought it was this.
Yeah.
So I love being wrong. I love being right. Thank you for showing me both of those things today. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. If you're digging what you hear and see, please click the button bell to subscribe. It's a button of a bell. And leave a comment, a review, or a rating. It means so much to me, and the rest of the words it means so much to me. Yes! And the rest of the words that move me community. Get out there into the world. Keep it funky. I'll talk to you soon. This podcast was produced by me with the help of many. Big love to our executive assistant and editor, Riley Higgins. Our communications manager is Ori Valladares. Our music is by Max Winnie. Logo and brand design by Bree Reitz. Thumbnails and marketing by Fiona Small. You can make your tax-deductible donations to Words That Move Me, thanks to our fiscal sponsor, the Dance Resource Center. And also, many thanks to you. I'm so glad you're here, and if you're digging the pod, please share it. Leave a review and rating. And if you want to coach with me and the many marvelous members of the Words That Move Me community, visit wordsthatmoveme.com. If you're simply curious to know more about me and the work I do outside of this podcast, visit thedanawilson.com.